Welcome back, everybody, to First Ring Daily Live, where it's Paul. Where the hell are you?
I am in my friend's spare bedroom.
Huh?
I'm working in a reclined position today. I'm not really sure why it hurts my back and it's hard, but
At least you have that going for you.
yeah.
Why? Well, this is cool. I don't know if you can hear that, but can you hear that?
Yep. hmm
Windows 10 just decided to sync calendar invites from the past about 7 days, even though I use this thing just about every other day, or even actually every day. But whatever. You know what? We're not here to complain about Windows 10, Paul.
Actually, yes, we are, Brad.
Oh,
And
we
I
are?
have to say, in the scope of Windows complaints, that's one of the smaller ones.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. I think what Paul's hinting at is might be kind of hard to see this graphic here, but I was trying to combine memes. So we have the 1960 Apollo launch, where this is where Houston, we have a problem occurred. And so then we have the Hindenburg up here, a notable, very sad and tragic incident in the world. And then I just renamed it to the 1809.
The good ship 1809.
Yeah. From all the people back on the good earth.
What could go wrong? Launch it.
Yeah, before we even whatever we're going to do about that. So here's an interesting thing that's happening inside of Microsoft that I learned this morning because I think it's fair to say that post kind of pissed some people off or whatever, and they started sending me messages. Microsoft is worried that 1809 might be a tainted name now, and I have no idea if they're going to do this, but there was talk of changing it to 1810.
Well, it is November, so that makes sense. I,
Yeah.
Whatever. I mean, whatever they do now, it's ludicrous, right? There's no win from this. You can't.
No.
You got to just throw it out and not worry about it because it does. You could call it anything, and people are going to make fun of it.
And what people would make fun of it, Paul?
Well, all people, Brad.
Yeah. At this point, there's like nothing to be said. What needs to be said is Microsoft needs to just say something. Would be nice.
I wish someone had said that. Oh, wait a minute. I've said that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Communication is key. We talked about my airline experience, I believe, the other day. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I do know that Microsoft is trying to ship this thing on Tuesday of this coming week.
That makes sense.
Um,
Patch Tuesday.
But it's not. It's not a guarantee yet.
Just want to point out that they released this on October 3rd.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to be positive here. I mean, they're within the 90-day return period of most devices. I don't know.
What kind of quality did you expect from a free product, Brad?
Here's a funny thing though. So they're obviously concerned that if this thing comes out and then there's more issues with it, it's going to be. They've got two black eyes, I guess, because they launched the first update of the year late, and now the second one updated. I guess this would be the punch to the gut. You're just working our way down the body.
Sure.
The next one might be even more painful depending on how it plays out.
Yep.
But supposedly they're doing more Q&A on this internally, and they've uncovered some issues that were related to the launch of Windows 10 that have been apparent since then.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't even. Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing to say here. We can move on to happier grounds. Paul, how's that MacBook Air? Talking about a punch to the gut.
Yeah, more like a punch to the. Well, this story. I mean, this thing was supposed to arrive Friday today, and at some point in the past couple of days, I realized, oh wait, I've been planning this trip to Boston for months. My friend is having a party, a bunch of people coming.
Mm-hmm.
Usually when I go to Boston, I try to go on a Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got a shipping thing from someone at Apple or UPS or whatever it was, and it said it was going to arrive on Thursday. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Maybe I'll wait for it. But the problem is where I live, UPS delivers late in the day. FedEx delivers early, but UPS comes late. So I would kind of miss Thursday. Side story, by the way, I didn't tell you this part of this. I don't think my daughter, as you know, I think we talked about no school Monday, then no school through Wednesday. They actually canceled the entire week.
Oh, wow.
There's black mold now in the school from all the water.
Oof.
So they're hoping Monday, but we'll see. And so for a brief time period, My daughter was thinking about coming with me on this trip, but if she came, I'd have to leave Thursday because she'd have to come back by Sunday because she has to be in school on Monday, supposedly. And anyway, long story. But eventually Thursday morning, I said, you know what, screw it. The thing was out in the truck for delivery, but I knew it wasn't going to arrive until later the day. My wife, I'm taking her car, so she can't go anywhere. And I said, look, the thing's going to come between 12 and 6 or whatever, probably towards 6. If you would wait for it, you have to sign for it. I left it in good hands. She's an adult, and I drove to Boston.
And then what? And then,
so my wife texted me. Let me see. I sent this to Brad because it's so beautiful. I'm in Boston or in Norwood, Massachusetts, and let me look at the time. I just want to see the time. She goes. There's so many texts with my wife. I'm sorry. She goes. Oh, geez, I can't find. Where is this thing? Oh my God, we text. I text too much to my wife.
Good story.
She says, "Oh yeah, 5:35. I missed UPS. Kelly and I went out briefly, and then they said they will bring it again tomorrow." And I'm like, seriously, seriously. I said it was going to be between 12 and 6. And then I took a screenshot, so I sent it to Brad, and Brad's like, she had exactly one job. And I'm like, that is literally the next thing I typed. I was like, you have exactly one job.
Not leave the house.
So UPS sent a thing this morning that said it's going to come out again today. So I forwarded it to my wife, and I said, I just want to make sure we're clear what the plan is here. Because I thought we were clear yesterday.
It's going to be great when she misses it 3 days in a row and they just return it.
Oh, no, it arrived.
Oh.
She sent me a text with a picture of the box, and she wrote, the Eagle has landed.
Speaking of the Eagle has landed, my Apple, I'm now the owner of one of these.
Yeah. And?
I'm at this point, I'm really happy I didn't buy the 2 or the 3. And so jumping from the 1 to the 4, you get all sorts of upgrades, most notably speed. The other one was kludging along, I think is a fair way to describe it, with the latest OS. And so, it's a bigger screen, roughly same form factor, everything else. It's nice, I guess.
Mm-hmm. And what kind of, did you get a band with it, or how does that
well, I have the bands from the first gen, which conveniently still work with this generation. So I have a black one and a white one and like a leather one for fancy occasions. So
you swap out the bands?
Yep. As my wife would say, every time I put the leather one on, she says, the band is back in town. Yep.
Yep. I can't make fun of that. It's something I would say. Mm-hmm. It's pretty good.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's maybe I'll do a write up. It's nice. I mean, the thing is, if you liked Apple Watches, you'd like this one too.
Sure.
If you didn't like the previous generation, you're still not going to like this one. I haven't tried the EKG thing yet because I assume that zaps me somehow.
I don't think it's that dangerous.
But I assume that's where they're headed with this thing. Is it's self-defense.
Sure. Except it's going to zap you when you try to eat like a muffin or something.
That would actually probably be more helpful than an EKG.
Yeah. Tim Cook says no.
Wow. Speaking of Apple, by the way, so interestingly enough, I didn't even realize this, but Apple was not selling stuff on Amazon, but that's going to change. They're making amends, and you're going to be able to buy stuff.
Huh.
This comes from somebody who was selling Apple products. I guess they were going to the store and reselling them or whatever, saying, hey, you're no longer going to be allowed to do that because Apple's going to start selling first party, and there you go.
Wow. Well, that's good. That's good news.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, I mean, Apple is actually really good about returns, which I know because I've returned several Apple products just this year. And by good about returns, I mean, literally, if you think about an online purchase or any purchase, you buy a thing, there are taxes and fees and shipping, in this case, associated with it. And it comes to your house and you use it and you have some number of weeks before you can return it. And when you return it, you get all of the money you paid back, all of it, every cent. So a lot of companies don't do that. Google has a restocking fee that I don't remember the exact amount, but let's say it's $30-something maybe on a piece of hardware. which is reasonable. It's fine. And you can imagine companies not paying you back for the shipping or whatever. But when you return something, Apple sends you the labels. You pop it over to FedEx, and they cover that obviously, and you get all your money back. I mean, that's pretty good. But the advantage of Amazon, of course, is they have incredible customer service. If you're an Amazon customer, I mean, they're actually really, really good about stuff. And I don't know if their return window might be longer, but it wouldn't surprise me to discover that it is.
Mm-hmm. They, I mean, that's one of the reasons why a lot of us buy stuff on Amazon. You don't even have to actually get it returned. Typically, if it's Prime, I believe, once you scan it at UPS, you get your money back. Now,
that's right.
People are, if you're wondering how that works, is, well, obviously if it ships back and, it's not the item or whatever, they can still charge you. But
I used to, you have options too. Like you can get a pickup at your house. You can bring it to a UPS location. And if you don't have a UPS, maybe a Staples or whatever, you can bring it to an Amazon locker, right? And so like the Whole Foods near us has a locker for Amazon. There's a lot of neat ways to do it. You actually, you pay for that return, as it turns out,
right,
to some degree, but it is super convenient. And I've had that experience where I've gone to Staples, I've handed them the box, they scan it, they give me a receipt, I get in the car, I get an email notification, and Amazon has already issued the refund.
Whoops, wrong button there. That was from a podcast of yesterday. The other interesting thing too here, which I am actually curious about, is Disney Plus. Terribly named because it sounds like Google Plus. For those who aren't familiar, Disney is going to be launching their own streaming service, and it's going to be called Disney Plus. And I know this is like the fragmentation of the market, but I could actually see us dropping Hulu and picking this up.
So what does it encompass? Obviously, Disney content. I know they own Marvel and Star Wars, plus the
National
Disney
Geographic, Pixar. I'm primarily thinking for my kid.
Yeah,
I think there's going to be a ton more content on that than there's only one show she watches on Hulu right now, which is Doc McStuffins, which is actually a Disney property.
Right, which is probably going to be off of Hulu, if I understand this company. I know like the Marvel and or Star Wars stuff is leaving Netflix at some point, and it has to do with this thing. I kind of like to see stuff be as many places as it can be. And I didn't read the story, but I think there's some tie-in with Netflix with Disney Plus, which I don't quite understand.
Yeah, I don't know. I think, at least in our household, I think Hulu is going to be the sacrificial lamb for this thing. I would imagine most of their movies are going to be on there. Most of their TV shows are probably going to be on there. And that's...
Oh, they own ABC too, right? Don't they? Disney, they own and that must mean they own ESPN, I think. Isn't ESPN part of the channel or
I believe so, yeah.
ABC? I think so.
Yep. So this will be interesting. I think it's coming late 2019 though, so that's going to be
no rush.
Well, I think the reason why, now this is kind of speculating here, I bet they have contracts with other vendors and they're waiting for the majority of them to expire before they launch. Because I bet they have agreements. For example, Doc McStuffins on Hulu. I bet there's an agreement that they can only offer it on Hulu, and then by launching their own service, they want to be able to do it.
Doc McStuffins is a phrase I never would have heard if it wasn't for you, but now I will always refer to this type of licensing as the Doc McStuffins clause.
It's a legitimate show. It's about a vet, a little girl vet, and she heals people, Paul. It's very wholesome. It's good for the whole family.
I'll recommend it to my wife. We're looking for something to watch after Breaking Bad or whatever, and maybe this will be it.
You could also venture down the lanes of Sophia the First, also along the same lines. Little princess girl named Sophia.
Maybe after we're done doing the entire Dora the Explorer, collection of body of work, we can move on.
I wonder if I can pull this up fast enough. It's funny that you say Doc McStuffins here.
It's amazing that I even know this term, but yes.
Or Dora, I should say.
Oh, Dora the Explorer, sure. My kids used to watch that. I used to like Swiper. I always wanted that little guy to get the thing he was trying to steal just once, Swiper, no swiping.
Because I play PUBG with the same people. And every time we get a chicken dinner, for those who aren't familiar, that's when you win. One guy plays this.
Which, of course, was the end of every episode of Dora the Explorer.
Yep. And so every time we win, that song plays across all the headphones, and we did it.
Full-grown adults, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep. With kids and everything else. Just blasting Dora across the other thing. And then, Paul, one other thing here before we get to why the heck you're in Boston. You wrote this up, which I think is an excellent tip. Crackdown is free. The original Crackdown, which is a fantastic game. If you have never played Crackdown, you should play it. It's a lot of, I call it leisure fun. You can just kind of pick it up and play it at will, and it's not high stress, and it's a lot of fun.
Well, it is high stress for me, Brad, because if you remember this game, I believe there were like 3 cities or maybe 4 cities you could go between, and you get all these different capabilities as you advance. You can swing around like Spider-Man, and you battle everybody. And as you're doing this, what you're collecting are these, I think they were called orbs.
Yeah, I'm trying to catch them all.
Yeah, there were, let's say, I don't remember the exact number there were because I didn't get them all, but let's say there were 100 of them. I got 99 of them. Now, I want you to imagine that there is this gigantic virtual open world in which there is now one orb that you have to find to like literally finish the game, to do everything you can do in this game. It's the only thing I haven't done. I never found the orb. There's an orb out there.
Does this explain your ongoing bitterness with life? It just never...
Well, it's part of the reason I only play Call of Duty now. But the interesting thing to me about Crackdown is that Crackdown was kind of no one knew anything about it. It wasn't supposed to be a big deal, but it came out the spring, I think, of the year that Halo 3 was coming out. So if you bought Crackdown, and I believe it was kind of value priced at the time, let's say it was like $30 instead of 60 or whatever, you got onto the Halo 3 beta later that year for free. You can just get in. And I think a bunch of people bought it for that reason only. And surprise, actually, the game was excellent. Yeah, it's a great game.
Red Dragon in the chat room says, Paul and Brad, that orb sound is my text alert.
No, that's great. He actually uses the sound. Like when you collect an orb, it makes it. Yeah, that's good.
A little chime. A little chime. And then, Paul, last question of the day. Why are you not on the yellow brick road, but in the little yellow brick room?
Yeah. Why am I not reviewing an aluminum overpriced hunk of space gray, whatever? Well, roughly once a quarter, I come back to Boston just to hang out with my friends. We have a night where a big group of us get together, and we scheduled this for the weekend that we had that documentary crew in my house. So a couple weeks ago, and sometime in late October, this is the original date, and it was really strange, like to have to explain this is why I couldn't come to Boston. And I'm sure a lot of them were like, yeah, right, But then at least I had photos of it so they could kind of see that it really happened. So this was just
because they didn't believe you.
Well, I mean, documentary. Yeah, sure. A documentary film crew is coming to your house. So that makes sense. But yeah, so anyway, the party's tomorrow. The get together here at John's house is tomorrow night. But, I come back like, I'm like that guy that like graduates from high school and he never really leaves. Like he hangs out in front of the school after, and like I just come back and like everything's kind of, well, every once in a while something small changes, they move the Panera, whatever.
Yeah.
But
the Panera.
But it's like, I feel like I kind of never left, like a lot of these guys, I would only see them every couple of months anyway. And I still kind of do. And like we went to Tahiti last night, which is the Chinese restaurant I grew up going to when I was a kid, and we hung out. We used to go there on Thursday. The reason I drive on Thursday is that there's a smaller subset of my friends that goes there on Thursday nights. We did this for a long, long time. And, I just kind of texted, them yesterday. I was like, hey, do you guys want to go to Tahiti? And they're like, yep. There was like no question at all that we were going to do this. Like, it's just like, and then you get there and like the guys, come in, just walk in the door because it's like a local hangout kind of thing. So it's kind of eased the transition, I guess. Because I have long-term plans. Like I want to move around. I want to move more. I want to live in different places and do different things. And it's not like when you're a kid, it's like, hey, we're moving to a different state. Bye. I'll never see you again. We're adults now. We can drive and move around, and it's fine. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, no, that's good. It obviously everything becomes significantly easier once your kids are out of school and you don't have to rip them from your friends unless they volunteer and coordinate the real estate transaction themselves.
I mean, my daughter has a car. She has that car that I drove back from. I guess it was Las Vegas, whenever that was, 3 years ago. And then, she's gone to Boston with Stephanie a couple of times. She's flown to Boston by herself. And even for her, it's kind of like this. Like she almost came with me on this trip because the school was closed. Like I said, there was a chance she could be here now, and she would have stayed with one of her. It just didn't work out. But yeah, it's a different situation. It's kind of nice.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy you're happy.
Thank you. Thank you.
And now, as I say that, Paul, are you done finishing editing my damn book? Because
it's Brad. It's a significant amount of work.
No, it really is.
I don't know if you know how hard this is, Brad, but no, something tells me. Yeah, I'm working on it. I'm going to work on it more. I worked on some today. I will do some more of that today. I'll do it. That's the thing. Like I'm not, I got stuff to do. I'm going to go see my mother tomorrow and do a couple of errands and stuff. But I will be working over the course of the weekend. I brought my next 2 review laptops with me in case I could finish those reviews. We'll see. But I'm hoping that the ThinkPad X1 Extreme review could be written by the end of the weekend. I also brought the Acer Chromebook Spin 13, which is awesome too, by the way. I don't think I'm going to get to that one on this trip, but I have some tests I need to run on that. The Huawei Mate 20, which is pretty incredible, and I'm going to try to do some camera tests with that if I can. And then, of course, I'm going to come home and they'll be like the Apple thing, so this can just start all over again. But the point is, I'm here and I'm going to see friends and we're going to do stuff, but I'm still going to kind of work like I do at home anyway. So it's not like I'm flighting off for 5 days or whatever.
Yeah. Well, fantastic. I don't know. I got nothing else other than I'm picking up the quarters or the pieces of my book behind Paul after he gets done with his.
It is kind of like a buzzsaw sometimes, but
it is. But it's a good buzzsaw, I think.
Yeah, I was just. I hope the net result is a positive.
That's the hope.
Both for you and for me.
If all else fails, I have a backup copy that I'll just ship instead.
Yeah. Thank you for doing all that work. I sent in the one I wrote originally. Yeah.
So, all right, folks. With that, we are going to wrap it up for the day. It's a weekend. Hopefully, you have a wonderful weekend. It's going to be cold here, and they have mentioned that dirty S word. And So, have yourselves a wonderful weekend, and we'll catch you right back here next time.